Almost all countries in the world are in debt. The debt of the United States has exceeded $38 trillion, the highest level it has ever seen in history. The European Union is around $14 trillion, Japan nearly $9 trillion. Even oil-rich Saudi Arabia is in debt, and export leaders Germany and China are as well. Now, our main question is this. If every country is in debt, where does the money go? The strange part of the situation starts here, because countries are not actually indebted to a single side. To a large extent, they are indebted to each other. However, this does not mean that everyone earns an equal amount. The concept called debt is not just a burden. It is actually the backbone of the modern system. Wars, crises, economic troubles, collapses, all of them are built within a debt cycle. When you start following the links, you realize this. The system is not indebted to somewhere else, but to itself. How did we arrive at the current situation? Worldwide total debt has exceeded $315 trillion. This is nearly 3 times the size of the global economy. This situation did not start with credit cards. In 1694, while England was at war with France, its source of money was depleted. The king went to merchants. He said, "Give me money now, and I will pay you extra money in the future." To maintain this agreement, the Bank of England was established. After this, a major change occurred. The money they were spending was money they did not yet own. In return, they were receiving a promise from the owners of money. This promise could be bought and sold. This is how government bonds emerged. France repeated the same thing. The Netherlands added improvements. America managed its war of independence and its expansion westward thanks to this system. Debt was no longer a weakness at that point, but a sign of power. If you could borrow, you were considered trustworthy. If you were trustworthy, you could rule. Centuries passed. The debt held by foreigners is approximately $9 trillion. Japan and China are at the top of the list. This means that the statement America is in debt to China is technically correct, but covers only a small portion of the total. America is largely indebted to itself. And this system is not exclusive to the United States. Japan buys U.S. bonds. The U.S. provides loans to other countries through the IMF. Europe lends to developing countries. Those countries then park their money again in Western bonds. Everyone holds each other's bonds. Think of it like a gambling table. Everyone has borrowed their bet from the player next to them. As long as the game continues, there is no problem. But if one player leaves the table, things change. The real controllers of this order are the markets. Large funds, central banks, hedge funds. They decide whether a country can borrow little or a lot. If confidence is lost, the currency starts to fall, interest rates rise, governments collapse. Democracy determines who will govern. Markets determine who will be able to stay standing. Central banks are at the center of the system. When they buy bonds, they print new money. One person's debt becomes another person's money. Every unit of money entering the system corresponds to a debt somewhere. In today's system, money without debt is almost non-existent. The system managed to stand for years on trust. As long as money holders believed that governments would pay interest, the system continued. But what if trust is shaken? We saw it in Greece. We saw it in Argentina. We saw it in Sri Lanka. Interest rates soared, money ran out, the IMF stepped in, rescue packages came, but the cost was forced austerity. However, the interesting part is this. Even if the system collapses, the logic never changes. Old debt is closed with newly taken debt. Restructuring comes. The game repeats. Because in today's world, state debt generally exists not to be paid off, but to be rolled over. Governments do not plan to pay the entire debt. They plan to manage it. What comes due is paid with new bonds. This process is called refinancing. The real product obtained is interest, like the rent of stability. The United States will not pay off the entire $38 trillion and reset it. Japan will not pay off all of its debt, because government bonds are the most reliable collateral of the system. Banks use them. Pension funds hold them. Central banks keep them as reserves. If one day the U.S. says, "I have finished all my debt," the most reliable financial asset in the world will disappear. The supply of dollars will shrink, deflation will begin, markets will experience turbulence. For this reason, the issue is not to eliminate debt. It is to keep it in circulation. However, there is also this. Saying we owe it to ourselves does not mean that everything is distributed equally. Interest payments flow upward within the system and society. The real owner of money always earns more. The ordinary citizen who regularly pays taxes feels the burden of the system more. This means that debt is not only an exchange between countries, but also a link between classes. Debt is neither completely bad nor completely good. It is the heart of the system. But if the heart has no blood, there is nothing it can do. The top creditor is not a single person. Not China, not Wall Street, not the IMF. In reality, everyone is a creditor, including us. Today's financial system has replaced money with debt. States produced it. Banks multiplied it. Investors bought and sold it, and citizens lived dependent on it. Debt was once a system made of chains. Today, it has balanced itself. But if the balance breaks, there will not be a single person left who does not understand what debt really means. A promise that cannot be kept forever.